Okay, I was actually going to introduce myself and give myself a prefab round of applause, but as Spock said on one of the more recent Star Trek movies, that would seem oddly self-serving. So I guess we'll just, doing that. So he just said, I don't know, good luck. I don't remember what it was, but he said he wasn't going to do this because he was doing it to himself. But anyway, so we'll start with that. Live long and, I don't know, have sex. Okay, we're gonna hit the button and get going here with the Great Wide World. The Great Wide World, but until then, I'm working on it. I'll figure out how to do more stuff as time goes on. So that's what we'll do. But for now, let's do this. Bang, and there we are. We are back. I can't believe it's been 6 days. Was I late a day last week? I guess I was. Okay, cool. No worries. Hello, folks. Hello, folks. To all you out there in podcast land and all you out there in YouTube video land, I'm going to try and remember that I'm talking to everybody. I hope you folks can hear me. One day I'll actually spring for a couple of bucks maybe and get a microphone, a little lavalier that hooks into the phone, and I can sound as fabulous as I do on our podcast every week. Anyway, it is Tuesday evening. There's a lot of baseball going on this evening. I'm recording it. I'm going to watch some of it later, as I mentioned. I like to watch playoffs of whatever it happens to be. The baseball playoffs have been interesting. And it's good to be able to record it, though, in all fairness, because, it's like with the golf. Do I want to watch this guy line up the putt? And they line up the putts separately, which gets me crazy. When we play, we all line up our putts at the same time. When we're ready to go, we're pretty much ready to go when we putt. And these guys playing a foursome, and three of them stand around on the side of the green. The first guy does his whole entire, goes through the whole song and dance. He finally putts. And the second guy first starts, running around and looking. It's like, and they wonder why they take forever to play a round of golf. The weather here has kind of fallen off a cliff. Sad to say, but it is now what? It is Tuesday the 19th. Ugh. Yeah, but it's getting cold quick. I'm not happy about it. I'm also something about not El Nino this year. It's La Nina, which does not bode well for the Northeast. I think they said wetter and colder. I guess if it rains, okay, no big deal. If we start getting like snowstorms, I'll be very bummed. I remember last winter, if I remember correctly, we had an early scare with an early snow. It went away. And then we had kind of sort of nothing until when? February. Wasn't February like lousy 3 weeks or something last year? I don't even know how I remotely remember that. But, and that was it. If I remember, was it 2 weeks? I just remember it was a stretch there probably in February. Anyway, what will be, will be. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm not really in the mood. Yeah, it's gotten cold here. I may be done. I actually did not play on Saturday. Why did I not play Saturday, which turned out to be not a bad day. I know I spoke to you guys on Wednesday after I played on Tuesday because I played so horribly on Saturday. I had another one of those, I got to get out there and fix this. Because it kind of sort of dawned on me what I was doing wrong. Well, what it dawned on me is the same old crap as it always is. I wasn't turning. Why wasn't I turning? Because the back of my brain knows full well that when I start turning, I'm going to blow my back out. And I went out on Thursday because I played much better on Tuesday because I was turning. That was, I think, when I mentioned that the guy, one of the guys I was playing with, did a 5-iron on whatever the hell hole it was, par 3, ran up on the guy, looks at me and goes, "You've got one sweet swing." And I'm like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I didn't completely fall apart after that, though, mercifully. But I was definitely starting the swing by turning my right hip out of the way. And we all know how that's going to end up. And so I played well-ish on Tuesday. I know I mentioned that. And it was then actually Thursday was a nice day. This week, they already had forecast that the weather was going off the deep end and we were going to have like high temperatures in the mid 60s. And, that's not working for me. So I went and played on Thursday. I went from Tuesday, it's same crap all over again. I go from Tuesday to Thursday. It's a whopping 2 days. Now, you would have figured with a day off in between, that would, be a good situation as opposed to a couple of weeks ago where I played 2 days in a row because I played so horribly the first day and did, again, get it together the second day. So I went out on Thursday. It was like I had never hit a golf ball in my life. I can't even begin to tell you. I kind of slapped it together for the second nine. I think I was 10 shots better on the second nine than the front nine. You don't understand. Once again, like I had never touched a club before. Just upped and gone, out the door. Thanks, have a nice day, see you later, bye-bye. But I was turning. I definitely got started with that right hip. And okay, I finished up and I figured, okay, that's great. I got a couple of days and we'll do it up on Saturday. And that probably could be based on the forecast, the end of the season. That was until Friday morning. Friday morning, I got up again, all fine, no issues, no worries, no problems. And at one point, I think I went to sit down. And as I sat down, both sides, not just the right, both sides went, "Yep, you're done, sucker." And I'm like, you have got to be kidding. It wasn't even an if, and, or but. I can pop a couple of Advils and I'll, rummage through it like I think I did a few weeks ago. This was, I'm done. I am not playing. I couldn't even stand straight and, just make believe I was going to bend my knees to get into some type of a golf stance. So I did not play on Saturday. And it's still, I didn't take Advils today, but I took Advils Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and yesterday. Actually, I did take an Advil before, but that was only because I got the heat on in the house. Ugh, another boo. But I hate that. I do, I must tell you. I don't like putting the heat on. I know my sinuses are going to act up. And sure enough, they did, so I popped a half an Advil and a half a Zyrtec. I know I'm out of control in the drug department. So that is unfortunate that I must get used to that, but it is that time of the year once again. Anyway, so I did not play on Saturday. I've been pretty much a semi-crippled mess. Not terrible, like the time before when I overdid it on the right side, and I literally, every time I tried to roll in the bed, it would just completely seize up. And that was for probably 3 days or something like that. That's enough to put your system out of whack. But anyway, so I'm now completely out of whack. I should be okay to go come Saturday. I could work around it conceivably. Unfortunately, as of last look, it was going to be a northwest wind, 15 to 20 miles an hour, and a high temperature of about 62 to 63. Not for me. That would involve the neck warmer that goes up over the ears, and the nose, and the mouth, warm up the air a little bit, the heated vest, and most probably the heated gloves also. And I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe we'll have a brief warm up the following Saturday. It's actually supposed to be really nice here, all things considered, tomorrow and Thursday in the low 70s, a warm shot before the bottom falls out yet again, probably for good this time. Definitely not tomorrow. I will not be playing. Thursday, I don't know. I'll have to see, but if I had to guess right now, I'd say probably not. That's the bad news. The good news is I think I found an interesting move that so far has proved interesting. I don't know if it'll work ultimately because I haven't been able to try it outside. I've only Briefly tried it inside and not taking real full shots with it, because as you all know, my hitting range right now consists of a standing mat, my flight deck. I love both. Perfect. My hitting mat, my standing mat, my little piece of plywood underneath evens me out with my hitting mat. But I'm hitting into memory foam pillows. So it's kind of hard for me to really take a crack at it, but it's an interesting. I guess I could get into that real quick, and then we'll move on. I did the date. I did that we haven't played. I just haven't told a story. Should I tell a story first, and then we can go ahead and talk about my new move? Interesting, it is. I think you're going to find this one very interesting. I found it shocking. Honestly, the first time I put myself into position, I was like, oh my God, this just feels natural. Anyway, okay, let's tell the story real quick. It's a biblical story. It's Jesus and Moses. They're out on the golf course. They're playing a round of golf. They get to a long par three. Long par three, I don't know, let's say it's about 222 yards. There you go, nice even number. Good old, remember room 222? Not unless you're very old, you're not going to. Anyway, it's 222 yards, and it's over a lake. Complete carry. You got to carry the water to put it on the green. It's just that simple. The green, with a little bit of a fringe, which is, of course, a drop off is just in front of the water, but, it's all carry. So they're playing the hole, and I don't know what Moses hits, but he gets up, he hits a decent shot, and he's on the green. Jesus gets up, and he pulls out a 4-iron. And Moses stops and says to him, Jesus, what are you doing? This is a 220-something yard shot. You can't hit a 4-iron that far. Actually, nowadays they hit it even further, but this was back in the day, so leave me alone. Anyway, he goes, you need a 4-wood. And Jesus shaking his head, he goes, nope, 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 nope. I saw Tiger Woods once on a hole of this length. Pull out a 4-iron, hit a 4-iron to 2 feet from the hole, made the putt for a birdie. That's what I'm going to do. So Moses shrugs his shoulders, and Jesus hauls off and gives it a biblical crack, and the ball goes flying, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 yards short of the whole shebang into the water. So you figure that would be the end of it, but no, not for Jesus. Jesus proceeds to go out, walks across the water, picks up the ball, comes back, tees it up again, takes another mighty cut at it. Well, sure enough, the ball's short. Doesn't get there. Moses is like, Jesus, you need a 4-wood. Jesus goes, no, I saw Tiger Woods hit a 4-iron. Jesus hits the 4-iron into the water, walks out across the water, picks it up, comes back. Finally, this is taking so long, the foursome from behind them catches up to them. And sure enough, Jesus tees up the ball and boom, hits the thing into the water. And while they're all standing there, he goes walking out, grabs the ball, and comes back. And the 4 guys look at Moses and go, what is with this guy? Who does he think he is? Jesus Christ? And Moses sighs and shrugs his shoulders and he goes, no, he thinks he's Tiger Woods. All righty, there we have it. So anyway, okay, here, Epiphany. Oh, and by the way, apostrophe. Remember last week we were talking about something or other, and whatever we were talking about, somehow a word came up that included an apostrophe, and I went blank. As in, couldn't come up with it in 100 years. And usually somewhere along the line, on that evening, 20 minutes later, out of nowhere, bang, it'll be there. This was not the case this time. It took a little longer, but I finally figured it out. So yes, it was a little apostrophe that I couldn't remember the word. Big surprise. So anyway, okay, so here's what I got. There's a guy named Todd Graves. He was a friend and student of the late great Mo Norman. I know we talked about Mo on the show here before. We're going to talk a bit more about Mo this evening. I was watching one of Todd's videos, trying to wrap my head around, the whole single plane swing. It's what Mo did. It's what a version Bryson DeChambeau, who we all know and love, is doing at this point. There are some similarities there. I won't get into too much detail. But I watch some of this stuff on occasion, and it's interesting. I see what they're saying, but it's it's a story of it might feel like you're doing something, but you're not necessarily doing it. And usually you think you're doing it, and you say you're doing it, but somebody will be looking at a video that shows you're not actually doing it. But it's irrelevant for the discussion we're having right now. The point being, I was watching, I don't know, one of his videos. I forgot, it doesn't really matter which particular one it was, and I forgot what actually got me going. But he mentioned one interesting thing, and interesting that, again, I see it sometimes and sometimes I don't see it. It depends. But here's what he mentioned. He was discussing the thing about Mo setting up with his club way behind the ball. And Mo did that. The reason he did that, let's see if I can get that straight. Well, he thought he thought he kept his club going down the line longer and further than anyone in like history, the last 900 years of golf or what have you. It turns out he wasn't, but you could see that when he would start the club behind the ball, he'd come through and it would square away. Now, here's where I got a little confused, because sometimes you'd see him set up behind the ball and his club would be a little open. Sometimes you'd see him set up behind the ball and his club would be square. So, more often than not, I think it was a little bit open. And evidently, whatever it was, it worked for him. You hit 1 million golf balls over your lifetime, or several million golf balls. You're going to hopefully develop some kind of a groove. Anyway, it was the whole idea about starting behind the golf ball. And I don't know what prompted me to do it, but I took a wedge in my little hitting section over here the other day, and I set the club down about not even 1.5 inches behind the ball. This is what is it? I guess it's it's a sand wedge. I set it down about 1.5 inches, not quite behind the ball. But instead of having it square, I let it just kind of flop open naturally, just lie on the ground. And then I stepped in and took my grip and stance. I took a normal square stance to the ball, and my body was square, but your hands, which we're not getting into too much detail yet again, when you set it address, your right arm is going to be lower than your left arm, okay? I won't get into a whole big thing about it, but basically that's what you want to see. You want to see the left arm above. Your right elbow's kind of going to tuck in a bit. Anyway, my entire life, I had set up this way, that way, the other way. I had never just walked into a golf ball, like put the club down and boom, settled in, and it was just where I needed to be. And son of a gun, if I didn't open up this sand wedge and just kind of lay it about it between 1 inch and 1.5 inches behind the ball, not the middle of the ball, the back end of the ball, for a righty golfer, that would be the right side, not quite 1.5 inches behind it, but with the face open, walked in, grabbed it, son of a gun, if my body didn't just bang, go right into that position, and I didn't have to move the club. My body just grabbed it, and bang, there it was. So now I'm a little bit behind the ball, and the club face is open. Obviously, I can't hit it that way. But I said, let's see what, I said, this feels really good, which is a very odd feeling. I've never had that before, I don't think, in my life. That's how shocked I was. Anyway, As I now am standing in this position, I go, okay, let's see what happens. And I take the club back. And son of a gun, I didn't have to manipulate. What's my big issue, peeps? I can tell you my big issue. Half the time I forget to take the club back with the toe. You can't take it back with the heel, aka closed, because you're either going to bash down behind it or you're going to hook. And we know the last few weeks I've been going absolutely hook crazy. Either I forget to take it back with the toe, or the other good thing that I wasn't doing was starting with my left hip, because I probably in the back of my brain knew it was going to screw my back up. Anyway, son of a gun, if this didn't take it back with the toe all by itself, I didn't have to twist my wrist. I didn't have to think about, am I taking it back with the heel? And it just went back toe. And then I said, okay, let's see what happens on the downswing. And more amazingly, it seemed to automatically make me post up on the left side. Now here's where I diverge a bit. If you're looking at the Mo Norman, aka Natural Golf single plane swing, I don't think now's this. I've got a long list of shit to do, and I guess we won't get into a single plane swing. At this point, no, we're not going to, because it's just going to take too much time to explain and what have you. But you can look it up online. There's two ways you can swing the club: single plane and two plane. Single plane simply is when the club comes around your body a bit more and it returns to the same spot you started. A two plane is when your body rotates, but your club goes in a more upright direction. So in other words, if you drew a circle around yourself and you turned and you saw that circle around your body, it would be at one angle, but your club made a circle at a higher angle, if that makes sense. Got that? So that's a two-plane swing as opposed to a single plane. Anyway, so that's what the whole natural golf thing is about. But anyway, so interestingly enough, I took the thing back and it went back with it, and it all felt right with the world, and I came down and I was worried what's going to happen, because I started 1.5 inches behind the ball with the club face open. How's the club face going to square up? Obviously, because that's the most important thing, is what's the most important moment in the golf swing? Impact. Son of a gun, if it didn't square up by itself, and at the same time I posted up on my left side, meaning the difference between what they do with like Mo Norman. You see he keeps his legs bent the whole time. Even at impact, he's a little bit bent, and he kind of goes through the ball a bit. In this particular instance, for me, my issue is always going through the ball and, burying my driver, making believe I'm hitting a sand wedge when I'm really hitting my driver, even though the shot looks the same as a sand wedge, because I run so far ahead of the damn ball that I bury the driver. And we all know that's why I have my my little screensaver, my golf club saver on the top of the ball. And sure enough, when I played the other day, I guess it was Thursday, among other nonsense that I managed to pull on the front nine, I absolutely, totally at one point buried it. That it didn't actually go through the golf shield and just butcher the top of the damn club, it's a miracle. Golf shield, whatever the name of it, I'm going to pull it out and bring it in next time and give them another shout out. Once again, you saved me from myself. Anyhow, so interestingly enough, I didn't even have to start with I'd set up square, and normally my old swing, which, put me in the crippled position I'm in today, I'd cock that right hip and I'd go from there. I didn't even have to do that. I just took a normal stance, but the only difference was the club was laying open. It went back with the toe, and as I came through, I seemed to automatically just post up on my left side, meaning my left side stiffened a bit, which there's two schools of thought on how stiff you want to get. I didn't lock my leg out. You see some guys that just, wham, straighten that leg out to post up on that, and that's just going to mess your body up over time, because now you've got, by straightening your leg, you've got your lower body going up, but now you're going down to hit the ball. You've got your upper body going down. That can't be a good thing long term. Anyway, With son of a gun, if I just wasn't crisp smacking the ball, bang, every time, with a nothing easy swing, just boom, 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 right in the back of the ball. I figured this can't be true. This is just, it could never work. So I grabbed an 8-iron. And again, down here, it took as much of a swing as I can. A, because I have limited ceiling space. And B, once again, I'm hitting, if I want to hit into my Spornia net, I'm going to have to take a picture of it online, print it out, and attach it to one of the memory foam pillows that I'm currently hitting into. But anyway, son of a gun, with an 8-iron, it worked. And then at some point I said, come on, let's get crazy. And I pulled out a 5-iron. Now, admittedly, these are barely half swings, but it worked. Let's go with cautiously optimistic, because we know damn well when I get it on the golf course, it's going to prove to be, completely 100% worthless. But if it's not, talk about hope springing eternal. That's the beauty of golf. I could have a completely, well, no, I can't say a new swing. Probably the same swing. It was crazy. I can't even describe. I just dropped the sandwich down, took what was my normal grip, and it all just worked. I didn't have to think about anything. It just, boom, right in position, took the club back. It went back all by itself with the toe. And when I came through that extra 1.5 inches from where I started to where I'd actually hit the ball, the club face almost squared itself. Nuts. So we'll have to see how that works out. I was actually hitting a few just before I started this evening. So how crazy is that? Try it. Just try it, practicing at home. Just try it. It's interesting. Let me know what kind of results you get. I'm seriously looking forward to trying it on the golf course where, disappointment reigns supreme. I don't know whether I'm good. I may be stuck with this, in my little indoor mini driving range until next April, wondering when I'm going to pound this thing into my brain for 6 months. And then first time I try it on a golf course, it's going to be like, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't think I'm playing Saturday because of the weather. And I think I'm probably making a mistake. I don't know. Let me see how I feel tomorrow. Let me see how it feels when I get up on Thursday. If I can grab a last minute time on Thursday and the weather's supposed to be in the 70s, maybe I will, because that's supposed to be it for weather in the 70s. Anyway, okay, so there you go. Boosters. Waiting online for boosters. Moderna, J&J. And you can mix and match your shots now. So my suggestion to anybody that's out there listening, as my doctor said to me when I visited him the other day, he wanted to see me because he hadn't seen me in a while and he didn't want to renew a prescription without looking at me. Evidently they did that automatically because he had no idea. They sent me a letter, we need to see you, come in, make an appointment, it's important. If you want your drugs, blah, blah, blah. He walks in, he goes, why are you here? I said, because you told me you wouldn't give me my medicine if I didn't show up. So, as he said, Moderna is better. If you have an option, folks, get your Moderna. And that's that. Oh, fun story from the other night. I'll actually post a 1-minute video. I'd forgotten that I do videos now. I can post as long a video as I want because I actually pay a service that I can take these entire shows and put them on YouTube, which is fun. Oh, let's do this again for all the YouTubers out there. I know everybody does that. You need to what? I don't even know how it works. You need to subscribe and like, and then there was something else you can do. Give a thumbs up, give a comment, sign up for, alerts when new videos are coming, all of that groovy stuff. But I'm doing that. I could have recorded this the other night and played the whole thing, but it didn't dawn on me, and I probably wasn't going to stand there for the whole thing anyway. I probably could have done one song, but I did not. When I was at my Super Spreader event Thursday night, we had entertainment. The wonderful, fabulous France Jolie. For all of you that remember France Jolie. Had some great, great, great disco songs back in the whenever. Or was it later than disco? It might have just been dance music. Anyway, how could you have the heart to break the heart and come to me when you're all alone? Anyway, we all know the words. We all know the songs. So that was a nice treat. We had a performance at the Thursday night Super Spreader by France Jolie. Nice to see her back. She actually was very emotional about being back. She started to cry a couple of times. I felt so bad. I wanted to run up on the stage and pat her back, but I did not. Anyway, so yeah, so I took a 1 minute. Still got some pipes, let me tell you. She's a good singer, that girl. So I recorded like a minute of one of the songs, and I'll post that on the Hit 'em Straight Productions. Oh, that's where it was from. That's right, I couldn't come up with a damn apostrophe. See, I told you it always comes back. My YouTube channel is Hit 'em Straight. HIT apostrophe EM Straight Productions. Get the golf reference? Hit 'em straight. Anyway, that's where the damn apostrophe came from last week. It always comes to me. PGA Tour, CJ Cup. Rory, my man, Rory McIlroy is your winner. This week they're playing the Zozo. There was a whole kerflapple about the CJ Cup. Evidently, the Champions Tour went overtime. And while they were going overtime, they chose to stay with the Champions Tour overtime, extra holes as it were. Lee Janzen was your winner, by the way, jumping ahead. Congratulations, Lee. But evidently this was all going on and cutting into the CJ Cup, which was featuring Rory among other top players in the world, and people were, I think, understandably unhappy. Even when they went to the Golf Channel website, they could not see the CJ Cup. They got that lovely, I used to get that all the time also, your whatever will start shortly. And that's all you get is the thing saying your video will start shortly, and it's not going to. So people were not happy with the Golf Channel. They were doing some serious venting. And I get it, been there and vented here more often than once on stuff that they do like that. Anyhow, so that was a bit of a kerfuffle. I know we discussed I don't know why everybody's wigging out with the 48-inch driver thing to no bigger than 46 inches. It's only for the pros and elite amateurs. And if you know what, it stops everybody whining and bitching and complaining about the whole distance nonsense for a couple of years. You know what? I'm all for it. They're not touching my 48-inch driver. I mean, they were smart about that. They know damn well that would have created a untenable, intolerable situation that would not have worked in any way, shape, or form. But for the pros, I know Philly Mick, I'm going to get more injuries because of the 2 inches and yada, 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 yada. I think it's just a lot of whining, bitching, and complaining for no particular reason. Everybody's going to shrug their shoulders. And again, if it shuts everybody up with the distance nonsense for a couple of years even, I'm good with it. And it's not bifurcation. They're still using the same stuff. I mean, everybody, you know, we've had situations before where, I know we talked a couple of weeks ago about, do you need to make a tee time, or you can roll up to your private club and walk out? You know, threatening to tear golf apart. They love to just create problems where problems don't exist. So anyway, here's another one. I'm okay with it. I think it solves a problem. It doesn't bifurcate anything. They're still using the same damn driver with the same shafts. It's just 2 inches shorter. We're not in the bedroom. 2 inches doesn't make that much of a difference, you know? What can I tell you? It's enough. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a smart move. It hopefully will solve the problem, at least for the next couple of years. I mean, eventually people are getting bigger and stronger and better and whatever, And you're going to get guys. I think I stumbled across some article about a kid coming on tour or whatever the hell he is. He's like 7 foot. Well, you know what? When you're that big, if you can manage to hit a golf ball with any type of coordination, um, just the length of your limbs alone, what are you going to do? Knock them down to a 45 inch? It's going to continue to be a problem. Hopefully, it'll be under the radar and not carried on about, at least for another couple of years, because I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. And I think they came up with a good reason. It's not bifurcation. It's not using different balls or different clubs or different whatever. So there you go. Moving on. The Euro Tour, the Andalucia Masters, was it? I don't know. The Andalucia is something or another. Matthew Fitzpatrick was your winner. Attaboy Magic. This week they're playing the Mallorca Golf Open. LPGA, the BMW Ladies Championship. Did I get into any of the discussion last week about how they're leaving the desert in California, the Dinah Shore? They're moving the tournament from, I don't know, where's it been, Rancho Miraggio or something or another for the last, since it started back in the whenever, when it was the Dinah Shore. Yeah, they're moving it finally. They're taking it out of the desert after all these years and going elsewhere. I'm sure it'll be fine. Hopefully they have a lake. You got to have a lake to jump into. So there you go with that. What else? They're playing the BMW Ladies Championship this week. The Champions Tour, as I mentioned before, the SAS was won by Lee Jasmin. Congratulations, Lee. First tournament he's won in a number of years, so I'm sure he's happy about this. This week, the older guys are playing the Dominion Energy Charity Classic. Anybody been following? Oh, sad note. I was going to talk about baseball, but let's talk about a quick sad note. Casey Martin. That would be the gentleman who, once again, Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and whoever else came down on the wrong side of history and testified, I think, in Congress, how Casey should not be allowed to use a golf cart to play professional golf on the PGA Tour because walking is a big part and intrinsic to the game. Casey, as you may or may not know, had a severe birth defect, affected his right leg. Basically his entire life he was a disaster waiting to happen, but he still managed to be able to play well enough. I won't bore you with the details on what the guy had to go through to get out on a golf course, but you've heard the stories about Ben Hogan, X number of years after his accident, what he had to do to wrap himself up to be able to play golf. Casey Martin's had to wrap himself up to play golf his entire life. And again, just a disaster waiting to happen. Something about whatever the name of his disease is, his right leg was just no good. Blood supply problems, whatever it happens to be. But he still managed to get to a point where he could play golf well enough to make it on the PGA Tour. All they had to do was offer him the accommodation of being able to use a cart. And if you think about what he had to go through to play a round of golf, where the only thing the rest of you guys had to do was walk the 18 holes, what he had to do to play that round of golf, and not for nothing, now they're going to be 1,000 guys like him and they're going to show up next week going, I want to be on tour. No, you still need to put the ball in the hole. And not many guys can do that well enough to play on the tour. So could you have been smart and gracious? And again, stopped and looked at, what side of history you really want to be on? No, they got up in front of Congress and said the guy should not be allowed a cart. Tisk, tisk, shame, shame. That's right up there with that whole nonsense about Gary Player and Annika Stormstam sneaking in to the White House under cover of darkness at 4 a.m. to receive, some kind of ridiculously big medal, Medal of Freedom, Medal of Honor, Medal of whatever the hell Fearless Loser was giving to them at the time. That, again, nobody mentioned. They kind of skulked into the White House, before dawn. Got their medals and got the hell out of Dodge. Anyway, wrong move, guys. Wrong move altogether. But here's the point in bringing up Casey Martin. Casey Martin, I don't even know if it's months or a year or more than a year ago, I remember hearing about it originally, was taking out the garbage. Remember I mentioned about that disaster waiting to happen? Taking out the garbage, he missed a step or misstepped or whatever it did. It was the same time, same thing you and I might do any particular time and twist an ankle. Casey, that's not the case. Casey broke his leg. His leg is not healed. They amputated his leg, I guess, a few days ago at this point. They amputated it, I think, just above the knee. I'm not entirely sure. I think whatever they did manage to save enough that he'll be able to be fitted for a prosthetic device. But that just sucks. That sucks. And our, best go out to Casey. Hopefully, you know what? Hopefully they can, with a prosthetic, you can come back stronger and maybe get out there and play. I think that would be great. I know there was a Tiger Woods sighting. Everybody's all a flitter. Tiger's back, Tiger's back. He was walking without crutches, but he did have a leg bag, whatever you call those things, on. He was watching his kid hit balls or whatever it was. I don't know. The general consensus is he's going to come back and play. That would be very interesting to see if that actually happens. I wouldn't be totally shocked, though, if at one point somewhere along the line he just calls a press conference and announces his retirement from golf. Between you, me, and the wall, I don't see it happening. If anybody is going to try to come back, I would think he would be the guy. So there you go. Has anybody watching the baseball? I know I mentioned that, 15 minutes ago, and I'm finally getting to it. Boston Red Sox. First off, I want them to destroy Houston. Sorry, I don't like Houston. They piss me off. Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame because he bet on other teams. But the Houston Astros exist as a franchise. They literally were complete, total crooks, thieves, blatantly, disgustingly, horribly broke the rules and walked away. So I'd like to see them die in a pool of their own blood. Nah, not that bad, but they certainly don't deserve to be world champions. I would have liked to have seen them out of the playoffs for a couple of years. They never would have been able to do that. But, 2 years, doesn't matter what you do, you can't go into the playoffs. But anyway, that irked me. Why is Pete not in the Hall, unless there's something I don't know, other than the fact that he bet on games other than the Reds? But these guys get a walk. I don't get it. Anyway, crazy Boston. 2, count them, not 1, but 2 Grand Slam home runs in the same game. First time it's ever happened in the playoffs, ever. And then what did they do the next game? Got up and they had another Grand Slam. That's more than any team in postseason history. I think that's pretty cool. So there you go. Back to golf. Where are we? Really? Wow. Okay. Let's get back to golf. We'll finish the list. I know I had stuff from last week that I didn't even cover, so maybe we'll get to a little of that. Why don't we do just totally unrelated facts, things that just struck me that I put down during the course of the day or the week since we last chatted, and then we'll see where that takes us. That'll probably take us to the end. Rachel Rohana, a Symetra Tour graduate, managed to still get back onto the PGA Tour after she took a 4-stroke penalty. Why did she take a 4-stroke penalty, you ask? Evidently, she was out playing wherever she was playing on the Symetra Tour, and I don't know, she heard something rattling around in her bag or some such thingamabob, but what happened is they looked in her bag, and it seems her little daughter's kitty 7-iron had somehow gotten into her bag. She was, penalized for playing with 15 clubs in the bag. I don't know how she took a 4-stroke penalty unless, she was on the third or the fourth hole when they found it. So you get 1 stroke for each hole. I don't know exactly how that works, but she found her kitty 7-iron in her bag. Interesting. I tell you. Sportia. Speaking of Sportia, I mentioned how if I want to hit into my Sportia net, I can go ahead and print out a picture on the computer and put it up against my my memory foam pillows. I actually had gotten in touch with Sportia today, bless their hearts. No, I'd take that back. That's a southern insult, and I didn't mean it that way, but that's how it comes across. They did nothing wrong. It's not their problem. The problem is that the ships are still sitting off the coast of Long Beach, California, and they can't get in. The reason I called Sportia is because, for no particular reason, I happened to bop onto their website just to see if there was any update, and sure enough, there was an update. Limited stock available, order one now. I go, wait a minute, limited stock is available. Why have I not received a shipping notice? So I picked up the phone, I gave them a call, because it's easier. You send an email and I've got to sit for, 4 days and see if they even bother to get back to me and all of that nonsense, because, companies are busy. I get it. Anyways, I just picked up the phone and gave him a call. And very sweet guy on the other side of the phone. I gave him my name. He goes, oh, yeah, here's your audio. Oh, you're getting the compact. I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, bad news about that. I go, what's the bad news? He goes, when we said we have limited stock available, it's the full size. I don't know what the SPG 7. The full size nets have showed up. The boat came in. Evidently and unfortunately for me, the boat with the compact Sportia SPG 7 edition is still sitting somewhere in the water off the coast of Long Beach, California. They're not expecting it now, at least until the end of the month. So, unless I were to order, I don't know, some cheap pop-up something or other from Amazon, and set it up and just hit into it for the next couple of weeks and then return it, because that's what we do with Prime. Unless I do that, I'm just got to wait it out. But I was like, it just figures. The one with the compact couldn't have been the boat that came in. The one that's got mine is sitting out there. So it's going to be yet a little while, but I'll let you know when it all comes in, and I'm going to take a video of the whole lovely setup. There will not be any type of what do they call those things? The electronic, not range detectors. Now, see, here we go. Here's my loss of word for the day. They're not the range finders. Launch monitors. There it is. Whew, I was getting a little worried there. They have little tiny portable launch monitors. But even a half-ass decent little portable. We're not talking GC Quad or TrackMan. TrackMans are $22,000. GC Quads are $12,000. We're talking $500, which is, I don't know, about $450 more than I would plan on spending. At this point in my golf career, I said golfing. At this point in my golf career, I'm not increasing my swing speed. I'm barely physically hanging on with the speed I've got now. I'm not going to even try to go any faster at this point. They say Mo Norman's hit 1 million golf balls. I haven't hit 1 million golf balls. He may have hit the million, but my body has suffered the effects of his 1 million golf balls, to be sure. But I've got all winter to heal up, and then we'll see what happens come the spring. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be playing this weekend, and I haven't looked any further to the forecast to see what it's going to be like. Where are we? Yeah, baseball. Okay, back to baseball real quick. One of the series, I forgot which team it was, but it was, the last game and they were down to the last out. And one of the guys started to swing and checked his swing. And they, pointed down the first base. And the first base umpire said, no, he broke his wrist. He swang. That was the end of the series. It was all over. And then, of course, they did the replay, and the guy did not even remotely break his wrist. The commentators were like, oh, when they saw it. And they're missing the balls and the strikes. I know we've mentioned this before. They've got the nice box there. Why broadcast how many balls and strikes get missed, or how many balls, in essence, get missed, because the call is incorrect. They don't call the ball incorrect, but they call strikes sometimes incorrect. But more often, when it's a ball, it gets called a strike. So they can have a little, earbud in the umpire's ear. Boom, here's what it is, and he calls it. They can still do all the other stuff. Evidently, the play that I had mentioned a moment ago was not reviewable, and that was the end of the series. You hate to see that, and it seems to happen more often, I guess, than it needs to. I don't know. Let's go to this. I know what I want to end with. Let's see what I didn't talk about last week. Oh, Walmart. Walmart is getting into their own golf ball business. They ordered 96,000 golf balls. That's interesting. I thought, I mentioned Tiger. I mentioned replacing a branch on a green. I think I did mention that. The rule is you get onto the green and there's a branch, a loose impediment, you can remove it. But if the person playing after you wants it put back, you must put it back. What else? Mats. I know. Watch out for real feel mats. They're the best. They give when you hit them. That's what I busted my wrist on. I didn't bust it, but that's where I injured my wrist. I remember I bought a real feel mat, and my very first swing, I guess I came into it a little too steeply. Literally, my very first swing, and bang! That's how I got my transfibrocartilage complex injury. That actually started. I started to actually feel it. Hadn't felt it all this year. After I played the other day, I actually started to feel it a little. I was like, oh no, don't even think about it. But that seems to have quieted down. So hopefully that was just a bit of a blip, and it's not going to be an issue. No, I like my what's my launch? I don't even remember the name of it now. My launch pad that I use, that I just purchased, a little oval thing that was a whopping $50. But if you buy like a 3x5 foot piece of this stuff, it's $100 billion. Flight deck, that's what it is, my flight deck. I'm liking my flight deck. I'm also very conscious of not coming into it steeply, but the way this stuff is set up, go check it out online. You'll see it's not as dense and thick as most mats you will see, which is why it's able to give. But the balls, it really is, it's really good. I must say, having, seen most of the different types of mats out there and owned, one or two in my time, this little flight deck thing, whatever the turf is, it really, really, really is good. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. You should look into it if you're looking for something like that. Okay, so since we are just about at our time, I'm going to toast everybody to your health, and I'm going to leave you with a last thought for the evening. There you go, last thought for the evening. Here it is. Are you ready? Pay attention. Golf is not one, but it is two completely different games. Think about that. Golf is not one, but it's two completely different games. One game is played in the air. The other game is played on the ground. Think about that. From tee to green, golf is a game played in the air. Once you're on the green, 99% of the time, I have actually seen people take wedges and what have you. If there's a big hump in the green, flags on the other side, and there's too much of a curve for you to keep it on the green, you're perfectly allowed to take a wedge and take a divot and whatever you need to do. Absolutely acceptable, but for the most part, 99% of the time, you're on the green, you're on the ground. So there you go, something to mull over between now and when we get together next week. How about that? So until then, where are we located if you want to find us while I'm gone? Instagram, In the Hole Podcast, Twitter, In the Hole Pod, Facebook, In the Hole, our website, In the Hole Podcast, where you can find each and every one of our episodes. Don't forget about our YouTube channel. That's Hit 'em Straight Productions with an apostrophe EM. Our email, please send a note. Topics you'd like to discuss, whatever. If you're even lonely, I'm here for you. Dr. Fraser Crane, I'm listening. For FORE at InTheHolePodcast.com, a shout out to our fabulous sound engineer and his little alter ego, Chris Pummel and Victor. And that's kind of sort of it. Until next time, stay safe. Because we love you, we want you to come back so you can listen to more stuff that we provide for you when you're driving cross country. Inside joke for those of you that have been listening to the show for way longer than you would ever care to admit. That's it. Love you. Till next time. Peace out. To you too. Oh, don't even ask.